Well, viewers, we are back with Ramesh Deochand, who is the founder of the Nirvana Humanitarian Society. I know you guys know he is no stranger to the camera. Everyone knows him worldwide. We usually see him playing the pundit roles in any comedy skit or even plays, but I know Ramesh has become very, very famous for his recent musical drama hit, Visa Wedding. So, Ramesh, welcome on board here. It's always a pleasure to have you. You are the brainchild of, I'm going to say everything with Nirvana. I'm going to go ahead and say that. You're going to say no, but I'm going to say, viewers, he is the brainchild of Nirvana. He thinks of all of the plays, all of the functions, all of the good deeds that Nirvana does. Ramesh, how are you?
Good. I'm happy to be on the show, Lakshmi, once again. As viewers may know, we have a good relationship from Love Till Belly Bus to all these plays and shows and all these activities. So, Lakshmi, I'm happy to be here to talk about our shows in Guyana once again.
Now, you do so much with the Nirvana Humanitarian Society in New York City, worldwide, and in Guyana as well. Now, we mentioned Visa Wedding, and it's such a hit. We did it in Guyana, we did it in New York City, we did it in Canada, and the people want more of it. Now, why do you think Visa Wedding was such a hit?
I know you remember, we went to Astro, is it 2 years ago?
Yes.
2 years ago. We had a show at Astro Cinema for those who can remember who went to that show.
Right.
We did a nice musical, it was like for 30 minutes, and Pandit Ramdalar sang most of the songs. And myself, Orwin, Radhika, Parvati, and yourself, I was the Starbai, you were the star girl.
Yes.
And it was just ad hoc. We had one rehearsal, then we went on and we did this drama. And you know what, my nephew, young guy, he's like about 16, 17, tough youngster, he came up to me after the show and he said, Uncle Chaitu, you really made me cry, I cry a lot in that skit. So I said to myself, what is it that appealed to them? What is it they found? We had no dialogue as such, everything was back behind the scenes. And then we got more feedback and remarks from people that they just enjoyed it. They could identify with the characters and the story, because I guess as Indian movies, we're accustomed to that. So they feel for the characters and the story, and they wanted more. So they asked us immediately when we come back to have more of that kind of drama. They want to feel. They want to go with the story. They want to feel something they can relate to, that they can identify, they can emote with.
Right. Now, I do remember 2 years ago, the same musical that you're talking about, that we did not have lines.
Right.
And we went back and we did with Visa Wedding. One thing I did remember was 2 years ago when we visited the orphanage.
Right.
And the kids were so happy to have us there. And you, Ramesh, promised these kids, you told them, well, you know what, you guys loved us so much. We love you too.
Yeah.
Next year, we want you to be part of the show.
And we did put them on the show
And
last
we
year.
put them in. We did the Visa Wedding with a variety show. And we brought the kids from the orphanage there as well. So this year now, we're doing Parika Market Starbai.
Right.
Now, the first year, you were Starbai, I was Star Gal. Last year, it was King Raj and I, and the beautiful Shivani and Erwin as well. We all played main roles.
Right.
Now, this year, tell our viewers who's the main Starbai and Star Girl.
But before we go on, let's just step back a little.
Okay.
Our original plan was to take Visa Wedding 2.
But
It's a very complicated skit, and it deals about suicide, which is a major issue in Guyana.
Yes.
But the skit, it's such a complicated, it's a wonderful play. It has plenty of meaning, for the young people in Guyana, especially when suicide is such a major social issue. But we couldn't do it this year, even though the demand was there. We'll probably do it in Guyana next year. You look at the script, and I'm sure you loved it. And
I did, and I know a lot of people back home, when we said we're not bringing Visa Wedding Part 2, they were very disappointed.
Yeah, they were.
But I think what it is we just have so much going on in New York City with the Nirvana Humanitarian Society. We weren't quite ready to bring them Visa Wedding Part 2. But we have Parika Market Starbai.
Okay, so the next production we decided to do, which is, I had to get my ideas all together, focus intensely in 1 week and put a script together. And that script was Parika Market Starboy.
And viewers, believe me, it was 1 week. 1 week he wrote the script.
And so we talk about the story itself, the storyline, the production itself, if you want later on. But it's a story where most people can relate to in Guyana. It's adapted from the famous movie Sawan Kwanado from the 80s, I think, early 80s. And it's a very beautiful movie, and we put it in the context of a young Guyanese farmer
Right.
from an island in the Essequibo River coming to Parika.
From Hog Island, right? Hog Island.
uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
And the probability of him becoming a star from a poor farmer, what transpired that journey. So it's something interesting, and I think people can relate to it because they love to see success stories.
Of
Like
course.
Visa Wedding, people remember that this girl from Prem Nagar, which is a squatting area, getting married to this rich family, and what's the probability of that happening?
Right.
So here it's a different story of this boy from Hog Island who is a farmer, comes to Parika weekly on a boat, to bring their pumpkin and vegetables. But he's a singer also, and he fell in love. I mean, not him, but the daughter of a rich businessman happened to fall in love with his singing because they will sing at the Stelling. And you know what? We actually went to the Stelling, and one night we sang at the Stelling. Was it last year?
And did someone fall in love with you?
No. But we were sitting near a family who were selling pumpkins,
Really?
but actually sleep on the Stelling in that evening, because they come in like the Saturday evening and they sleep until the next morning on the Stelling,
Okay.
on the pumpkin, or right near the pumpkin.
So, Ramesh, speaking of that, would you say that most of your writings are based on true stories or life experiences?
Yeah. And I think that's what people can relate, because Visa Wedding, what resonates with people was that they know either squatting areas in Guyana, people who live in these poor areas, they're previously called squatting areas, but
Right.
now most of them are developed. It's like when you come from a squatting area, people out in a major housing scheme will tend to look down upon you. I don't know for what reason, but they assume that you don't really belong, that you are apart from that mainstream, right?
Okay.
So they can identify with the struggles of a girl from squatting area, falling in love, with this boy who is a teacher, a graduate of UG, and his
King
family
Raj.
is overseas, King Raj. And Raj did a great job,
He did.
even though he's American, to pull that role, because he had to get into that character of a teacher, and you had to get into the character of a Guyanese girl.
I did.
And you did an excellent job, and people couldn't believe that. That you're not exposed to a squatting area and how people behave,
Right.
and the demeanor and how they carry themselves.
Well, I have to say, everyone did an excellent job in
Yeah.
Visa Wedding. I know back home, everybody's looking forward to Visa Wedding Part 2, as well as here in North America. Now, Ramesh, with all of these programs that you're putting together and traveling back to Guyana to do the shows, would you say it's financially worth it?
Yeah, it is, and because that's why we try to go as big as possible. I mean, if you add up the airfare for all the people going down and the expenses, it might be probably a figure close to what you might make on a show,
Okay.
right? But when you look at the faces of these people, when you go on the Facebook, they send you a Facebook message or they call you, and they have this intense
Appreciation.
desire and appreciation to want to experience something else. They said, what's coming up next? They have this desire, this need, and they want to see what we can present to them. They see it as an annual ritual. So we have the option of remaining in New York. We can always do a show in New York and raise funds and send it down to them. But then we are denying them that privilege to sit down and actually witness a first class production,
A Nirvana production, right?
a theatrical production, with top artists from New York, and we can go down without any. All of the artists volunteering their time, right? Volunteering their vacation to go down. So that you really can't compensate for that.
Right.
But the very fact you're going down to support the arts in Ghana, and people can they appreciate that, because they know that we can do it right over here. We don't need to go to Ghana to do that.
Right. Well, one thing that I love about going down with the Nirvana Humanitarian Society is actually mixing and mingling with the people, with the children from the orphanages,
Right.
with the people from the community, and yes, like you said, seeing their faces and the appreciation that we came down to do a show for them.
Yeah, you remember the orphanage? We went to the orphanage, was it last year? Myself, King Raj, and Radhika, Parvati, and other members of the group. And the kids, they actually treated us like celebrity, and
Yes.
they were so happy that we were humble enough to go to them.
Yeah, they were very excited.
And I mean, simple things like that, if we can do that and they're happy that we can go to them and support them, let them know that they're appreciated, it means a lot, It speaks well of us also.
Right. Now, speaking of celebrities, I know we do have King Raj in the studio, as well as Erwin, who were the two star boys of Visa Wedding. So we're going to take a break here, and when we come back, we'll have those two star boys.
The Krishna Foundation proudly presents Direct from New York City in aid of building the Shiva Shakti Yoga Ashram at Soosdijk, East Bank, Demerara. Variety show.
Oh my God, watch how you blush.
Come be entertained by some of Guyana's best. Fiona Singh, the Ishara Dance Troupe, Devi Ramcharitar, Arti Deodat, Ian Hardat, and many others. Backed by the popular Caribbean Hot Shots Band. Now on Tuesday, 31st of July 2012 at the Farm Community Center ground. Showtime 7 p.m. Remember, the next day is the holiday. It's a variety show. July 31st, Farm Community Center ground. Tickets only $500 and $300. For more information, call Molly on 265-3379.
The Nirvana Humanitarian Society proudly presents Direct from New York City, and after the smashing hit of Visa Wedding last year, a new musical drama, the Parika Market Starbai, and Grand Variety Show, an evening of splendid entertainment for the entire family. On Friday, August 3rd, 7 o'clock p.m. Astro Cinema, Saturday, August 4th, 7 o'clock p.m. Astro Cinema, and final show at the CI Mandir ground on Sunday, August 5th, 6 o'clock p.m. Tickets $500 for adults and $300 for kids. Call 275-0719 or 276-0013.
Look how Guyana is here. The platform. Your platform. Their platform. Our platform. Entertainers platform. The platform for you to perform. Join me Sundays at 11:30 right here on NTN Channel 18 Cable 69. Let's revolve talent.
You can down, get up, oh, oh, and you can down, get up, hey, 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 the song,